Well. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Blue King Crab's gaming channel. Where today we are going to be making one of those miniatures that I created a mold of and then casted it in a 2-part resin the other day. So now we're going to actually create the miniature, and then after we create the miniature, we'll then 3D print it. I'll show you how I 3D print it. Very simplistic. And then we'll do a casting of that as well into a mold, and then make more of them. So let's start off. This is TinkerCAD. It's a free online CAD tool that you can use. It's very limited in what it can do. This is not going to be a tutorial, by the way. This is just showing you what my process is and how I create stuff. It is free. You just need to sign up, make an account and stuff like that. So good enough there. Now, this is the bed that we would be working with. I like to edit the grid, and because we use the inches here, so we'll just have to get over it. But I make it 12 by 12. Just make it easy. That way, each of these little boxes here are 1/8 of an inch. So when you put them on here, you can see that we can make it exactly 1/8 of an inch. But yeah, this is very basic stuff. We can move it around here. We have basically a positive and negative stuff here that we can add together. We can combine them if we select all of it, and it chops it up. You can see stuff like that. So pretty basic stuff here, not too complicated. But to create our miniature, I've been doing kind of the same thing, so kind of like a uniform way of actually making it work. So we're going to take a square. We give it, oops, my bad. That was supposed to be 0.05. This will give it a nice beveled edge, as we see here. I'm going to change the color, just make it a little easier to see. I want to change the bevel here, and then we need to make the length and width 0.183. Sorry. This will make it just a hair bit smaller than an inch. So when we go to cast it in that cylinder that I showed you before, it fits inside of it pretty nicely with a little bit of wiggle room around the sides. So this is our template right here. This little rectangle piece. So what we'll do is we'll just take bits and bobs, basically add or subtract from this to create what we're looking for. I think what I want to try to do is make something with like circuits going around or something. I don't know. So let's try to do circuits. So to do a circuit, we can add a cylinder, and then cylinder we want to increase the sides like this, so it makes it just a little bit more round. But then we will reduce this to 1/8 just for right now, and then we will shrink it to 1/8 like that. And then what we do, boop, and then raise it back up. That put it at 1/8. Alright, we'll put one of those. And then to duplicate these, if you hold Control, hit D, you duplicate it right on the spot. D duplicates it again. Same on, same forth, right? So we can make a whole bunch of those all at once. Now we can move them down. We'll just kind of like make them kind of random. Something like this. Okay, and then to connect these, right, we need straight lines. And to make straight lines, we'll just put something like this. We'll make them 1/8. Actually, you know what we'll do? We'll make them 1/16. So what you could do is when you want to make them just a little bit thinner, let's reduce that too. We'll make them just a 1/16 here, and if you click on the side, boom. Now it's a half of a stack, right? We're going to keep it at 1/8 tall for right now. But then if we just go something like this, we want, I need to do 32, my bad. That way I get in the middle. And then what we can do is we can reduce this like that. Something like that. So that's one way that we can make a whole bunch of these. Let me just do this. And then we can do something like that. So now we have a whole bunch of all those. And we can just go down. Oops. Go down. Very easy here. We're making some grid lines. Nothing too crazy. Something like that. And then, kind of want them to be kind of zigzaggy a little bit though. So because we don't want just a bunch of, well, I don't know, a bunch of straight lines isn't that bad. But what we want to do then is we could, since this is an inch, right, and we don't have an inch, we're going to have to get rid of one of them. So we'll just chop off this one. So, oops. Oh, okay, fine, both of them. Oh, no. Now both of them. Then what we can do is we can take all of them, merge them together, and so now it's a single bit. And then we can move it that way, and we'll raise it up. There we go. Oops. And push it back all the way too. So it's a little tall as well. But that's alright, we can just do this. We can just shrink it like that. And one more time. Boop. I'm just shrinking it, and normally that would probably distort the circles. It probably is a little bit, but to be fair, it's not that big of a deal. If we do this too, it's going to distort them a little bit that way. So if we just push them just barely inside of there, that's pretty good. So if we want to make more of these, we could again just click on them, hit D, we have another one, and push it all the way to the other side. Oh, there. But we don't want it to be the same way, right? We don't want it to face the same way. So what we can do is we can go over this side. It says we can hit M for the shortcut, or we can click on this button, and then we can just click on the direction we want it to mirror. So now they're not exactly the same, and it kind of gives it just a little bit more variety. The next part we want to do is I want to take something out of the middle, kind of like a sandwich. So what we can do is we can bring it in a little bit more than a half, probably say, yeah, probably 1/4, I'd say, something like that. So we're going to take 1/4 all the way up, and then what we'll do is we'll come over here and we'll give that same radius, so 0.05. So now it has a radius to it, but we're going to change this to a hole, and we'll move over, and we'll move up. And now it depends on how much you want to be inside of this. Now, since we're going to be casting a mold, all of this we need to keep in mind of when we're trying to cast it. If you have a lot of tight little bitty spots in here, it's going to be hard for the silicone to get in there. And then on top of that, it will also decrease the durability or the overall lifespan of the mold itself, because it's, you're tearing it out. And even if you put, baby powder or a release agent, eventually it's still going to wear down. But this will make it prolong if we make it very simplistic, and that's what we're trying to go for here. We're trying to go for a very simplistic route in how it's created. Now the only thing is, I kind of wanted the roundest on the edge there, but I don't think we're going to be able to get that, which is all right. So I think this is not that big of a cut, but it's pretty interesting nonetheless. So we're just going to select all of it, combine it, wait for it to they cut out. And so see now, now it looks like we have a little bit of a toaster. And we have, it has a bevel in there, which is kind of cool, kind of rad. But I think to make it even cooler, what we're going to do is we're going to add a circle. We're going to add more shape or more sides to make it more roundus. And we'll go like 1/4 maybe. Yeah, there we go. So we don't want just hovering in the center. We want it to be halfway in, something like that. Oops, got to be also in the center. I think it's down 2. Nope, over 1. That's in the center. There we go. And this isn't quite halfway yet. There it is. So now it has a little bitty circle in the middle, and I think that adds just a little bit of flair, right? And we're adding greeblies at this point. We're just trying to get something that's interesting on it itself. We don't need this eye actually. Go 1/8. Oops, 1/8. Something like that, and then 16. And again, I know this isn't really oops, too far. This isn't really a how to use TinkerCAD. There's many way better videos out there that talk about how to use this, and I would recommend going to watch those because they're very informative. So what we're gonna do is duplicate this and then just move it to the other side. And that should be, one more. There. Add just a little bit more greebly on there. Gives it a little... Oh, I think I offset it a little bit. I think I did. You know what? That's okay, though. It's okay if stuff's not exactly perfect. Especially in this. It kind of gives it a little bit of a flair. And what we'll do is we'll add something on top of there. We'll add a little... Let's put it right here. We'll add a little bitty box up there to make it look like it was intentional. Because if we just leave it like that, it'll look kind of awkward. So let's decrease the size. Yeah, I would say something like that. I'm gonna push it all the way up. Let me go over. I might have to make it a little bit smaller. It's so close though. Yeah, we're gonna go all the way to the smallest unit. There we go, in the middle. And we don't want this to be very high, just a little bit, like that. And then we can put another one on top. Yeah, we can put another one on top. But we want this to be smaller. We don't want it to be so big. Maybe. Let's try. Yeah, let's try 1/8. So let's try 1/8 that way. We want this 1/4. That seems good. And then we would push it back down. Again, these are just greeblies. They're not really adding anything besides just a little bit more, just a little extra something to look at. You know what we're also going to do? We're going to give these rounded edges. Same 0.05 for the rounded edges here. There we go. There we go. Just a little bit more rounded edges. And then we need something that sticks out. Kind of like what we have going on here. But you know what? Let's put a cap. Let's put a... You can call it a cap, you can call it a capacitor, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to go to 1/8. And we'll shrink it all the way to 1/8. right there. Now that's sticking out a little far, so let's just push it back in a bit. I want it to be just slightly above this one. So something, is that one sticking? No, it's the same height. Let's do 32 up 1. That's not too bad. Now that's a little close to that because that's easy for tearing. So let's do something like that. So you see the difference of that? It might look better if I have it right here. However, I want it right here so there's more space in this area here for the silicone to get into and not an easy spot for stuff to tear. Now, you gotta have greeblies over on this side, so I think I'm just gonna add some more capacitors on this side. We're gonna shrink it so we can put it in the middle. And then, oops. And put it like right here. Doesn't need to be perfect, just needs to be close. As long as it's matched up with that side, that's fine. But right there seems good. Yeah. And then we can also give these a bevel, which is 0.5, not 0.05. Oh yeah, you need to increase the steppage. So we'll do the same here, 0.5, and then increase the steps. Bevels will help also when you're trying to cast this, because if there's very harsh edges, it's going to want to basically suction cup to the sides, and that's not really all that great. So we give them bevels to help with the overall suction of it. I think that's pretty good. Now, I know we have two flat sides, but when people go to grab these minis, they'll need something to grab onto, and we don't want it to be something that easily rubs off paint. So having these two flat sides will almost imply that's where you're supposed to grab the mini. Almost. Because not a lot of people will grab specifically onto these wire parts that we have going on here. So all we do is we combine the rest of it. Wait for it to combine. And there we go. We have our finished mini. It's all finished. So what we have to do, and this would probably be in, oh wait, sorry. We need to export it. So export it, and you can click on whichever object is the best for you. I'm going to go with the STL. It exports it. It might be better to give it a name probably. We'll call it 7 program version 1. I always like giving it a version, right? Version 01, sorry. Just in case I make a lot of edits to it. So then we do an export of it. That way we have an actual name on the file when it exports. Otherwise it just gives it a random one that they gave us. But yeah, I think that's going to be the video for today. And then in the next video, I'll show you how I print it off. And we'll show the printing and then all that good stuff. So in the next video, I'll talk to you all later. Peace out.